Service to humanity is service to God. Now, in its golden jubilee year, Shri Sadguru Seva Sangh Trust would like to acknowledge, recognize, and award the yeoman service done to the humanity via the medium of ophthalmology. Everyone loves appreciation. Today, it's them. Tomorrow, it could be you. A quick, thorough-ish disclaimer. While every effort has been taken to maintain the accuracy of facts, I seek absolvence from errors, if any, that may creep in due to untamed technology. There is no way a sequence in which the awards were decided or are being distributed. It is indeed a recognition of their immense contribution to the humanity in general and eye care in particular. I would like to begin with the name of the contributor. This is the Sadguru Humanitarian Award, and I would like each one of you to offer a standing ovation whenever it's called out. I would like to speak the contribution of the person. Then I would like to call the person who will explain the contribution of the person who is being granted the award, and then the conferring of the award. So that's the sequence we'll follow. It's my proud privilege and honor to begin the award ceremony by mentioning the contribution of late Ratilal Bhai Shah. The first cataract in Tara Netradan Yagyam. Coincidentally, his son, Dr. Ramesh Shah, is here with the first intraocular lens implant. Not just the father, but the illustrious son. Late Dr. Ratilal Shah was a prominent eye surgeon in India. He started a tradition of doing charitable eye camps in 1920s in Kutch, Gujarat. In 1950, he performed his first eye camp in Chitrakoot, India, where he operated over 3,000 eye surgeries. His able son, Dr. Ramesh R. Shah, began performing his first charitable eye camp in the late 70s in Nairobi, Kenya. In 1984, he followed in his father's footsteps and began doing annual month-long eye camps in Chitrakoot. Following in his father's footsteps, he was the first to implant an IOL intraocular implant in Chitrakoot. He has provided several instruments and technology and has imparted necessary knowledge and skills. In the year 2000, Dr. Hiralal Shah followed in her father's and grandfather's footsteps by doing the first eye camp in Chitrakoot, with the father performing surgery and giving lectures. It is with a sense of great pride that his worthy descendants have continued to live his legacy into the next century. I now invite Dr. Ramesh Shah to first come and address the audience and enlighten us with the contribution of his late father. So.
It is indeed an honor and a privilege for me to be here with such distinguished guests and reminiscent about the past, present, and also give some thoughts for the future. I'm asked to give some introduction about the man who led his life with the shlok from the Upanishad, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaha. My father was born in 1898 in a very modest family background. He studied under the lights and the railway stations to pass his exams, did the medical schools, paying for the tuition, writing accounts at the stock market, and graduated from Grand Medical College in 1922. He did his residency in ophthalmology at the CJ Ophthalmic Hospital at JJ, and was very keen to go overseas. His chief our residency program director, Dr. Duggan, had seen a long future for him, and he said, I'll sponsor you to go to England and do your postgraduate studies there as well. He landed in London, and within a few months, he passed his exams, diploma in ophthalmic medicine and surgery from the London University, and diploma in ophthalmology from the Oxford University. And right after that, and getting all the training that he needed, he came back to India, and he had the option whether to stay in Bombay, where he could easily make tons of money, or go back to Rajkot, where we belonged to originally, and be in there and serve the people there. He chose Rajkot because of the family ties, that his brothers, sisters, and he didn't want to give that up. As soon as he started his practice, he realized that there is such prevalent blindness, and many a times it is not because there is no care available, but because they don't know where the care is available and where to go. Him and another ophthalmic surgeon from northern India, in those days, Matradas Pava, not Dr. Pava from Sitapur, but it's a long time before that. And they, along with one of the other ophthalmologists from southern India, which I can't remember the exact name, they communicated with each other and said, this is not acceptable. There is no reason for someone to go blind for any reason at all. And they started the original concept of what's called eye camps in India. And this is dating back to 1924. My dad started doing eye camps initially in Gujarat, in Kutch, Mandvi, Mundra, Bhuj, Upleta, Bikaner, everywhere. And every year, he would go out for a month, do about 2,000, 3,000 surgeries, spend time with the patients and the families there, and come back and go into his practice. He had an extremely busy practice of his own, but at the same time, he did not want to forget someone who needed the care. He also was appointed as an honorary ophthalmic surgeon at the government hospital in Rajkot for many years. In 1940s, he wanted to set up an eye bank. He communicated, and this was in 1942. He actually communicated several times with the government, initiated the process, and unfortunately, during his lifetime, it did not materialize, but soon after, it came to head, and it was an eye bank that was set up already. It was a long-seen future for him. As far as his experiences in Chitrakoot, I'll tell you a few things that I remember as a child. When I was growing up, I was about 7 years old when he came to Chitrakoot, and I didn't know what the Chitrakoot was because I didn't know much about anything at that time. But when he came back, I mean, he talked so much about Chitrakoot that I still remember many of those incidences and the sentences that he said. One of them was that when he came here, he was initially approached by Gurudevji, and Shri Gurudev asked him that if you are doing so much of charitable work here, why not help people in Chitrakoot? And he readily agreed. I mean, he'd love to do it. With the blink of an eye, he would say yes. He came here, and initially when he saw, on the first couple of days, that there were Pramodwan, he said that Gurudev, there are so many snakes around here, there's wild animals around here, and how do I feel comfortable doing surgeries here with such high risk of infections? And Gurudev said, Ratilal, You don't worry about it. I have done a sankalp that nothing will go wrong and none of your patients will have any infection. You just do your work. And my father agreed. He stayed here for about a month. He would do surgeries every day starting at around 6:30 in the morning, not stop for lunch breaks. He would finish in the evening, have dinner, then see the next day's patients to be done, or those were done the day before. He enjoyed doing it. He has told me that there were about 10 cots that were lying there one by one. He would move from one to the next to the next to the next. And the way it was done, and it made sound so simple, you enter with the knife at 3 o'clock, go out at 9 o'clock, cut the capsule on the way, take the flap on the conjunctiva, take a longer flap, and then wash out and express the cataract. It takes longer to describe than to do it. But that's the way it was in those days, and under a flashlight. In one day, his record was 212 cataracts in a day. And he enjoyed doing it, he loved it. He hasn't griped for a moment that, oh gosh, what a volume, how can I cope with this? No, he loved every second of it. And during the whole month, when he stayed here, there was not a single infection that he had. He told me when he came back, and he said, there is such a thing as sankalp, which basically means strong determination in your own mind. If you want to achieve something, if you want to get something done, make a sankalp. And just trust that and go with it, and you will be able to achieve whatever that you want to. I still remember those. Also, during his stay here, he had learned so much about other things in life from Gurudev. I still have actually their pictures. I still have the communication and letters from Gurudev to my dad, and soon, even after the camp, they communicated for a long time. It was just an ittifaq that Dr. Jain met me at Delhi, and then we started doing it. He passed away in 1966, and at that time, I had just started my residency in ophthalmology. I went to the same medical school that he did, I went to the same program that he did, and he passed the baton to me. And in '72, when I went to Kenya, it was the first time in the Kenyan histories that anyone had done eye camps in different cities in Kenya, which I did. I set up an eye bank in Kenya, and when I left Nairobi in 1981, I had the satisfaction that at least in some ways, I was able to fulfill the vision my father had. Also, 84 on, I've been coming here, and like I even tell my friends in USA, that after a long travel, all the way to Bombay, in those days used to come to Satna, go to Chitrakoot in the evening at 5:30 or 6, see 100 people on the evening before the surgery on the next day, and I start work on next day. Jet lag didn't bother me, travel didn't bother me, I never felt tired for a second, and we loved to do what I did. The inspiration that my dad gave me over years about how to manage and how to work and look outside the box, the most important message was, help those who need help. There is no reason for anyone to go blind. Even all these years in my practice in the United States, we have a rule that nobody shall go blind because of lack of finances or any reason. If they come to us for any help, they will get it, no questions asked. I was blessed with my father and also from Gurudev that my daughter also became an ophthalmologist, and she joined me in the practice 3 years ago. She also is a retina specialist. She also does cataracts too. And she has been here a couple of times with me for the eye camps, and she has enjoyed. This year she missed because of her children, but reminiscing in the past, and the words that I've heard from my dad about Chitrakoot still rings me in my ears, and I still not forget what fond memories that he had when he came. When he came from Chitrakoot, he brought with him a cap. That was a yellow cap with some sides down, with I think a lot of monks at that time used to wear. And I used to enjoy wearing that and walk around the house. But he told me that, listen, everything in the world is secondary. Make sure that you do your work and make people happy. With that, I conclude here, but with the message that what I have had and what the blessings I've had from everyone, including with Gurudev and everybody else, that I have been able to accomplish, if not everything, at least some of the things that I wanted to do in my life. And I still cherish all the memories about Chitrakoot stories that I have from my father. With all that, I think I'll conclude this evening. Thank you so much.
So please stay here. Please stay here. I now request Mrs. Kumudben to please join us on the stage. And I request Vishad Bhai Mafatlal, Mr. Raghunath, and Dr. B.K. Jain to confer the posthumous award on late Ratilal Ji Shah, and to be received by Shri Ramesh Bhai Shah. And standing ovation, please. This takes us now to the next recipient in the Sadguru Humanitarian Award. I'm speaking about, I'm going to mention now the name of the contribution of Shankar Nethralaya from Chennai, and the man behind Shankar Nethralaya, Dr. Badrinath. I have collected these stories from the gentlemen, the doctors who arrived here today, who mentioned that Dr. Badrinath has had very humble beginnings. His father passed away when he was in his teens, and he had 6 siblings then. Dr. Srinivasan inspired him to go to the United States after he finished his degree in Madras Medical College, where he stayed for nearly a decade. After returning in 1921, he joined Charles Keepens, who is known as the father of modern retinal detachment surgery. In 1974, when he operated upon Kamkoti Mutt Shankaracharya, and inspired by Swami Jain Saraswati, Dr. S.S. Badrinath founded the Medical Research Foundation, popularly known as Shankar Nethralaya, in 1978. He is credited with transferring technology from the West to the East. So much so is the popularity of Shankar Nethralaya that 98% of the surveys mention it as the most preferred place for all eye care. Dr. Badrinath has trained nearly 1,000 eye doctors and was chosen as the only doctor in the field of medicine by NDTV in the top 25. He has been conferred upon with Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan by the Government of India. Throughout his lifetime, he only received a salary from the charitable trust. I would now like to invite Dr. Lingam Gopal to share more light upon the journey of Shankara Nethralaya. Dr. Lingam Gopal.
To receive an award on behalf of your own mentor and your teacher is really a very rare opportunity. And I really feel honored and humbled to be able to receive an award on behalf of Dr. Badrinath, whom we treat as not just a mentor and teacher, but almost as a second parent, because he not only taught us ophthalmology, but he taught us how to be a good human being and how to address a patient properly. Every small nitty-gritty that we are able to practice today is directly attributable to the training we received from Dr. Badrinath. I'm sure Dr. Natarajan, who is here, who is also a disciple of Dr. Badrinath, would admit to these facts. He himself could not be here due to health reasons, which doesn't permit him to travel long distances. And when I left Chennai, I asked him, what is the message you want me to give to the people who are giving you this award? And he wanted me, of course, to thank profusely for selecting him for this prestigious humanitarian award by the Shri Sadguru Seva Sangh Trust. But what he told me is that the award doesn't belong to him. The award belongs to the entire family of Shankara Nethralaya, because he strongly believes that what all he has been awarded so far are because of the entire work of Shankara Nethralaya, not by himself. We, as his disciples, feel that he as a person deserves individually in his individual capacity all the accolades and awards that he has received, but he himself wants us to convey this message to all of you. In brief about Shankara Nethralaya and as an institution and Dr. Badrinath as an individual, you already heard a little bit about the introduction from our compeer. I was fortunate to have joined Shankara Nethralaya way back in 1983, and Dr. Natarajan joined us in 1984. And what we found immediately after we joined there is that it is a place where you learn, as I said, not just ophthalmology, but many things in life. And Dr. Badrinath is a visionary, and he literally changed the face of ophthalmology in India and probably in Southeast Asia, along with luminaries like Dr. Namperumalsamy, Dr. Venkateswamy, Dr. G.N. Rao, and others. He trained really a long list of doctors who spread his vision far and wide, not just within the country, but even beyond. And as I said, I was fortunate to be one among those disciples. And if you see the impact he had on the people whom he trained, I'm a living example, a very average person who could really do a lot of good work because of the excellent training I received from Dr. Badrinath. So he has really chiseled a lot of people like me and Dr. Natarajan into people who could train more generations of ophthalmologists and spread his message far and wide. So with these few words, I would like to thank the Shri Sadguru Trust for having chosen my mentor, Dr. Badrinath, for this prestigious award. Thank you very much.
Please do the honors.